Hello, welcome to your AP English live Q&A for Wednesday, April 29th. Today we're talking primarily about the practice essay number 7 question, if you have questions about it, and I'm also going to go into some detail about the sophistication/polish point that the College Board has on the rubric. I'm also going to put up notes or screenshots from the review class today. That's what they covered. And I'll also be putting up notes and screenshots from yesterday's class because taken together, they're going to be very helpful to you. How to establish a line of reasoning for those of you who still struggle with that. And then their thoughts about the sophistication point. Remember, there are 6 points that you can get. 1, do you have a thesis or not? That's 1 point. Up to 4 points on the strength of your organization. And that's all about how do you organize your paragraphs? How do you choose your evidence? What kind of commentary do you have? Does it not only relate to your text evidence, but does it connect back to that thesis? And then to get 4 points out of 4, does your commentary pull your text evidence and nail it to that thesis? Remembering that your thesis needs to show some kind of transition or shift at work in your essay. If your commentary does those things, then you should get 3 or 4 points. And if you have a thesis and you have 3 points for organization, then you have a 4. That's the minimum score. And if you have a 4, then you have a 5 out of 6. What about that 6th point, though? There were a lot of insightful things that they talked about in the class today. They're things that we've talked about, but they broke down the 4 ways that you can get to get that polish point. One thing that I thought that they said was interesting was one of the ways that you can get that sophistication point is to present alternative interpretations of something. Back in the fall, we looked at a poem where someone was seeing angels. And we talked about that. Oh, somebody's going to show up and rescue her from her relationship. She was seeing angels out the window and was thinking about going to join them. And then we also talked about, maybe she's thinking about jumping out the window and then ending up with the angels afterward. And the idea of starting a relationship and committing suicide are about as diverse interpretive possibilities as you can get. But if you can find that, then that's great. Now, one thing that Mrs. Barber said is that she doesn't really teach her students to do that because it can be hard to find in a timed essay setting. And that's true. So if you don't see something like that, then don't worry about it. You're focusing again on a shift. And if if 2 different ways to interpret the same device pops up to you, then go ahead and use it. If not, just write your essay because you can get a qualifying score without it. They also talked about how just throwing in one big, juicy SAT level word here and there isn't polish. What they did say about the polish point or the sophistication point has to do with the level, the quality of your analysis. And they also say that it is kind of hazy. It's very subjective getting that 6th point. But if you are really writing at a complex level about the shift in the essay, and if you can work in some figurative language to your own writing, things, similes, metaphors, that's great, especially in your so what, even if you only work in 1 or 2. And if your so what at the end of the conclusion shows that you get the importance of this issue that they're writing about, those are ways that you can get that 6th point. You don't need the 6th point to win, but let's say, and it's going to be hard to get that thesis point, only score a 2 out of 4 on organization, and then get the polish point because if your organization is only a 2 out of 4, it's unlikely that the reader is going to think that your writing as a whole is sophisticated enough to deserve that extra point. So don't count on this point to save you and get you to 4. Instead, think of it as a way, if you're already writing well, you're getting 4s and 5s all the time, could you get to that 6? And in the case of some universities, maybe get a full year of college credit instead of just a semester. Now, I'll be honest, colleges have not come out and said how they're going to respond to this year's test, because it's just one essay instead of 3 essays in the multiple choice. So I would say that, going for that 6-point may or may not be worth it. Or for some of you who really organize your essays well and you've been getting 5s and 6s, this is something that's coming naturally to you. My challenge to you, though, is to make sure that when you write practice essay number 7, that you strictly limit your time. Make sure that, from pre-writing to writing, you only give yourself 45 minutes. Because if you're giving yourself more time, you're not helping yourself for the test. And that's the only reason to do these practice essays, is to help yourself for the test. I don't see any questions in Remind. Nope. So I see that there are several of you here. If you have any questions about the essay, about the AP test, or anything else, school related, you can go ahead and ask those questions now and put them in the live chat. While you're thinking about your questions, I've had a couple people ask, when is the test? Well, it's still May 13th at 1 p.m. I did put a video link in Remind that shows you kind of screenshot level, how do you get your test, and how do you take your test, and how do you submit your test. And that video will help you with all of your AP classes, not just English. They're going to do a live demo, or they're going to put up a demo on May 4th that we can walk through with you. So I'll use this little screen sharing app that I have. We'll walk through that demo together. I'll make that video for you on Monday. So any other questions you have in the live chat? Remember that practice essay number 7 is due Friday. My goal, whoever turns it in Friday, I will have those back to you Monday so that you can, look at my feedback. Revision for that will not be a graded activity at this point. We need to be thinking about works well. Practice essay number 8 will be next week, and I'll have even less work, or I'll have even less shall we say scaffolding, less preview of it for you. You're basically going to take it and you're going to write it, and then at that point, the videos later in the week and early the next week we'll talk about last minute problems in the essays, things we need to work on ahead of the test. Now, I do see and understand that there is some shall we say struggle as far as motivation. I've heard from a lot of people, you're frustrated about missing graduation. You're frustrated about because you haven't heard from the district about what's graduation going to be like, when's it going to be. Well, I think, and I've said this before, but I'll say it again, I think it's good that the district is waiting to put off graduation as long as they can. And if you're wondering what those sounds are behind me, having a little repair work done here today. So no, nobody's having intestinal problems in the back of the house. It's good that they're waiting, because I think they're waiting as long as possible to see what they can do to make your recognition, as much as you deserve. I am very thankful for the Adopt a Senior Facebook page. I put a link up to that either in Google Classroom or Remind. So if you haven't taken part in that, Facebook's a free app. Go ahead and add it, and then send your information in. It's called Sunset Seniors Adopt a Senior 2020, because there are plenty of teachers, alumni, just community members who want to adopt each of you and make graduation as special for you as possible. So get in there, sign up for that. So let's just be patient and wait for the decision to come as far as what's going to happen. If you have a spring sport, soccer, softball, baseball, you should have heard from your coach about a time to turn in your equipment, so that can be stored and kept for next year. Because yes, we are planning on school and sports next year. The hope is that the pandemic will have passed enough for school to be normal next year. And hopefully that means that college will be normal for you as well. You'll be able to go and, have a great time your first year. Sure, there'll be some social distancing. You might be wearing masks to class or, whatever, but be better than it is now. But we'll just see. Any questions about AP, about Practice Essay 7, about AP test, about anything? Hello, Jeanette. It is nice to see you there in the live chat. Any other comments, questions? Okay, so tomorrow we'll have, tomorrow they're going to have the chief reader of the AP exams at the live class. So if you want to see, his comments about what the AP test, how it will be graded, special thoughts about this year's test since it's different, that would be good to tune in for. And then we'll have a Q&A at 11:50 again for Practice Essay number 7. And if you have questions, you should come in, ask them, and one last thing. If your family's still, struggling as far as food, the school I know is giving out meals on Thursdays. There's an organization that gives out meals every day, Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 for families that need it. And there are also several other agencies giving out food. So take advantage of that if your family's struggling, or if you know people who are struggling in other families, pass that information to them. Jeanette asks, how long do I think the test will be? Well, May 13th, 1 o'clock, the test will come up. You go in and you start it. You've got 45 minutes. So if it's me, around 12:30, 12:40, I'm opening my computer. I'm logging into my AP College Board, so I'm ready to go. 12:30, 12:40, and then, I'm just kind of hanging out. Now I'm getting my pre-writing sheet ready, so I'm ready to take notes. And then 1 o'clock, bam, that question hits. I've got 45 minutes to pre-write and write that essay question. And then once I'm done, once 1:45 hits, I've got 5 minutes to upload that test. So watch the video that I put up in Remind earlier today. It'll show you how to do that process. And on Monday, when we post that video about how to do your test, watch it, practice it. That way, the 13th and all your other AP tests will go as smoothly as possible. Other advice, talk to your family members, let them know when your tests are, talk to your siblings, say, hey, you got to chill out while I'm taking these tests because it's free college, because I don't think your 6-year-old brother is going to be paying for your college class. So maybe you can chill out while you're taking your test. Make sure you have a private place with quiet and good connectivity on your Wi-Fi, so that you can get it done. If you still need a hotspot, you need to send me a message and Remind. You need to send me a message, because the school's ordering more and more, but they don't know who to give them to if we don't know that you need Wi-Fi. Any other questions? Last call for questions today. Okay, so tune into the class tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Work on your Practice Essay number 7. And Q&A will be at 11:50 once again. You guys have a good day. Stay safe and healthy and sane.